Hi everyone. Today I will be talking about Clearpass and its configurations. So in my demo environment which I have built, I have used Clearpass just for security between both campus and data center. So let me quickly share my screen and show you how I've configured Clearpass. So before we move further into Clearpass and how we configure it, we first need to have a Clearpass account with us. So for that, the basic idea behind Clearpass is that it is a software that is running on a VM, and this will be hosted by a server. So we'll have to access one of the IPs of the Clearpass that is being hosted in the VMs. So that is how we will get access to the Clearpass policy manager. So once you get access to it, make sure if you or like just check if you have any data ports available for you to connect to the Clearpass port. Else we'll have to make use of the management port. So for my demo, I'm using a management port. So the difference is that in data ports, usually for customer demos, we should use data ports because they have higher capacity, whereas the management ports they have very less capacity, it's like only 1 gig. So but because of like now I don't have a data port to use, so I am using a management port for time being. So it's up to you to use any port that you want. All right, so Clearpass Policy Manager. So once you log in into the Clearpass Policy Manager, you have to make sure that you are able to reach your Clearpass IP, that you're able to ping it from your device. So here I have a chassis switch, my 6400. I'll just log in into the console and show you. So now I am inside my chassis 6400 switch. So before I add the devices, we need to know the management IP address of this device. So we'll have to check them. Okay, I have to add a 2 here since it's inside the config mode. So I can see that the IP address is 10.5.7.24/24. So just copy this and we'll have to go get to the Clearpass and make sure this device is added. So I'm adding a new device here. I'll just name it as Priya 6400. The IP address would be 5.7.24 and just describe it as chassis. So the shared secret is up to you. Make sure you give the same shared secret. So I'm just adding this device. So this is how you add a device to Clearpass. So if you see here, your device is being added here, and make sure this device is already not present in any of the, any of the devices that's been listed here. So even if it's there, if someone else has used it, you make sure you delete the device and add it up again. So now we have added the devices. So when it comes to Clearpass, we have a proper orders. The first thing is to add a device. The next thing is to apply the policies as per the profiles. So we will be creating 2 profiles. So as I've already highlighted, I will be discussing about TACACS server configurations and how to do management authentication using TACACS server. So once we assign the device, we have to create 2 profiles. So in my ideology, or as per my ideology, I've created 2 profiles called admin. The other one is read only. So just imagine admin is a person who can access everything in the switch, and read only is someone who can only execute certain commands. He has certain limitations to and will not be able to execute all the commands. So that is the basic idea behind this. And policies is nothing but what command the user should run, what command the user should not run, what kind of privileges he has. So that will be set up in policies. So once you set up the profiles and policies, we'll move on to services and make sure all these profiles and policies are added inside that services. So first, so make sure the device is added here. So next we'll move to enforcement. So in enforcement, if you see, you have policies and profiles. So I'm going into profiles. So just to save time, I've already created a profile called TACACS simple profile. So this is nothing but the profile where I will be accessing every time to add any policies to them. So I have a TACACS simple profile, I have a read-only TACACS simple profile. So if you want to export any kind of profile that you want, just click on them and export it. This exported file will be saved in the form of XML, and then you will be able to add it back here. So it will be created in the, even if you're not exporting, you can also copy the file. It will be created in the form of a copy. So it's up to you to how do you want to create the profile. So now I have two profiles, the TACACS simple profile and the read-only TACACS simple profile. So if you go inside this profile, so this is how you create it. So when you create it, it will ask you for the type of the profile you're creating. So that is TACACS. So we have two types, that is TACACS and various. So I have created a TACACS, and the action would be to accept. So you have two actions, like accept or to reject. So you will be accepting it. And my privilege level here is 15. So privilege level 15 is nothing but the person can use all the commands, that is configurations. You can see configs, you can do show, all such commands can be done. And a selected service will be shell. And once you're done this, you will just complete the profile. So I have named my profile as TACACS simple profile. It's up to you to name it as it is up to you to name it as per your wish. And here the service type is shell, as I already told, and the unmatched commands is permit. So what I have done is, like, I've not denied any commands here. I'm just enabling all the commands. So this is how you configure the TACACS simple profile. And if you see, you will also have further details like this is the one which I already explained. Like you have to select the type, you have to select its accept or reject, and you also have to go into services to do the privilege level, and the selected services should be shell. And this would remain as add. And once you select the service as shell, you'll see a prompt here which says shell and privilege level 15. So commands, I have enabled to permit unmatched commands, which means I have enabled all the commands. So just save it and your profile is created. So similar way, you can also create a read-only TACACS profile. So here this process is same for same as we followed in admin as well. And if you see here, I have not enabled all the commands, because if you see in admin, I had enabled it because that admin person should be able to access everything, but the read-only person will be able only to access the show commands. So that is what I have configured here, and make sure you save it. So once you save, you'll be able to create two profiles, my read-only TACACS simple profile and my TACACS simple profile. So after profile, we'll have to move to policies. All right, so policies. So before you jump into configuring a policy, you will have to create a local user. So I have created a local user called admin1 here. So this is just a straightforward method. Admin was already being used, so I just created admin1. So this is where our TACACS server configuration takes precedence before any local user credentials. So now on, when you log in into the switch, you'll have to use the admin1 password and not the normal password which are already set up. So I have enabled a password here, and make sure you save it. So local user is now configured as admin1, and any user that has admin1 credentials would be able to log in into your switch. I've also configured one more called read only. So this user will also be able to, so now you just can imagine it like two different users. So one person is the admin, the other person is the read only. So I have configured two different local users. So after configuring local users, get into policies. You have to do the policy mapping here. All right. So if you see here, I'm just telling the policy mapping what needs to be done. So if this is an authentication with username admin1, he has to access the TACACS simple profile, which means the TACACS simple profile will have a set of rules that the admin needs to follow. So that will be mapped to this profile. So policy and profile mapping is done here. Similarly, for read only, you will have to map them to read only TACACS simple profile. And if you want any other rules, you can still add them and just save it. So the policy is done. So the last part that we will be making sure is the services. So I have already created a service called Priya's TACACS service. So it's the same, it's very straightforward. So make sure you name your TACACS service and select the type of enforcement as TACACS, and also make sure it's enabled. And authentication needs to be the local user repository. So authentication source. So the Clearpass has to know where to fetch these users from. So that is the users admin1 and read only. So these are all in the local user repository. That is why I'm specifying here as the local user repository. So there is nothing for you to do it here. And enforcement, as we already did that in the profile and policies, would automatically show up here. So just save it. You will also have this services. And once you save it, you'll see the services at the bottom. So make sure you reorder them and it is at the top. So the first two are like default ClearPass services. So this will be, so my service is the Priya TACACS service, and I have made sure it is at the top, so that anytime the switch is able to access ClearPass, the ClearPass will first execute your service. So now let's log in into the switch and do the switch configurations. So inside the switch, once you're logged in, make sure you configure the TACACS server here. So I have configured a TACACS server with the host 10.80.2.2.2, which is my ClearPass management port. And I have also made sure I've given a key plain text and procurve is my passcode, and VRF management, because I'm accessing it to the VRF management port. And make sure you do not copy this command, just just type it off so that you don't get any errors with respect to the plain text or the cipher code. So once you execute this command, you will have to do the normal AAA authentication and authorization, which is done using this command. So AAA authentication, login SSH group, TACACS local. So we are just trying to modify the SSH login here. And the authorization, we are also telling the switch, the ClearPass, that there needs to be an authorization when it is logged in with particular credentials. So it will ask you for the prompt, asking you to continue or not. Just give yes. So now I'm trying to log into the switch from other console because we already have the terminal open. So I'm trying to log into it from central. So I'm using the admin one user, which I have already used. So now it should be able to log in with that username. So if you see here, you will be able to run any commands. So that is why you are the admin user. So with respect to admin user, the configurations are working right. That's why you're able to log in into the switch. Now let me show you how to log in with the read-only user as well. So now we have a read-only session open here. So if you see, so I'm trying to execute the config terminal command, but I'm not able to execute the command. So that's why, because I had only allowed show commands for the read user. So that is why it's not able to execute any commands right now. But if you use the show command, it will be able to show you all the running config. So that is how we differentiate two users who are accessing the same environment using ClearPass Policy Manager. Thank you.